side, FPX on the red side.
Right, so we have got the Lucian Milio split up for this game. It is such a powerful lane, which means that we're getting something that we've seen a lot, which is the Lucian Nami traded off against the Aphelios Milio. Because actually, no, for the longest time, it did feel like Lucian Nami was the combo for Lucian. Actually, Lucian Milio is slightly stronger now. So you kind of fall back to that Lucian Nami being stronger nonetheless. Important thing here as well, Maokai is typically very good into Lucian Nami because when they run forward, the Maokai ults over the wall and you don't have something like that Milio cleanse to get yourself out of danger from that point. So the Maokai onto Ultra Prime is a takeaway from FPX. It would have been a great pick against the Lucian Nami.
It's been so pivotal as well as just a spacing tool available, right? A big Nature's Grasp sets up Lucian to really do a lot in that situation. But I've actually really appreciated the Aphelios. I know we can meme about the 200 years and how much we've seen Aphelios in pro play, but let alone the LPL. But with the Milio, provides a lot of strength there. I'm very much looking to Deokdam in life to have some stability in that 2v2 here. But we're in the second phase. We already got the Orion onto LeBlanc banned by FPX. The Tristana is the ban by Ultra Prime.
So maybe they want to play something which is less interactive in mid lane. That to me signals something like a Corki, because you can play with the Maokai ult and you can have the Lucian and then the Corki kind of gunning down on one target, unloading all of their ammunition as they go with it. They're banning out the Jax, which means maybe they want to go towards a Cassante and have a less volatile matchup towards the top side as well. Play for their 1-2 item spikes, but with the Akali locked in already, now you look at Yuekai and you go, well, I can't really play the Corki into the Akali so easily because the Akali is very good at answering that. What have you got left that can survive against the Akali and still be useful? Something like a Nico might not go amiss.
I would wonder if that would be the answer. It also gives you a ton of that CC setup for the rest of the squad. But we've seen a lack of priority in the Nico being picked up. The Aatrox, though, Decade going to be happily grabbing.
So now you look at this Corki and say, well, do I do it for the team comp?
Don't do it.
Do I do it for the team comp?
Don't do it.
You just look at the Akali and you just have this kind of, have these flashbacks and go, well, that's what Akali did to me last time.
Don't do it.
Of course, Yuekai was the one that picked it up just before then. No! He locks it in. LPL Corki once again. It's not been the strongest champion within the LPL. We've struggled to activate it to the same level that the LPL. Not been able to activate it to the same level that the LCK has managed to do. But still, standing behind a Maokai and having your Lucian as well, being able to add in mixed damage, long-range firepower. It's a strong item spike at the one item, and then later into the game as well. Okay,
we get the Xioalaohu play here. It is the Fiora locked in for a man that was so strong last game as well.
So, you are going to have yourself an ability to really shut down this Aatrox. I'm actually not sure with the item changes how this matchup has changed, because you don't have... So what you used to do with the Fiora, particularly in pro players, if you went for Grasp and Sunder, and you can even go for something like a Scorch secondary or something like that, you're just looking for this uncontestable poke, which means you will always win 1v1s versus the Aatrox. Nowadays, with the Profane Hydra and the removal of something like the Sunder, I think it's going to be harder for Fiora to get the leg over the Aatrox in the same manner, but it's still probably going to be a matchup which you can snowball in.
And I'm curious how that snowball works out, because we have seen pretty one-sided games, it feels like. I think game number one was a little bit more contested, but I think this time around where you have very clear setups, but a little bit of spice coming through here from FPX, I actually really like that for a game 3. Try to set some things off kilter. I want to see if Xioalaohu can be as strong as he was last game on the Gnar, but I think it's also begging Ultra Prime. The question is, how are they going to make sure they come away with their first series win of the split here after this game?
And they've searched so hard for it. They've had some close games. They've, as we said, they've innovated. They've tried to rack their brains to come up with something new. They're coming up against something new. The first Fiora in major regions for 2024, locked in across the rift for Xioalaohu on FPX. Can they overcome that themselves?
We're letting the sparks fly here in Shanghai, and we're letting this first series go the distance. It's Ultra Prime's faith and hope in their first series win on the line. If that's FPX trying to deny them and go 2-2. We'll see now what it all comes down to. Let's go. I love it. The energy's electric.
That FPX dude's voice is really strong. He's going to be walking out with a sore throat after this one. Had to do the chant 3 times today rather than just the 2. We're into game 6 of the day, folks. We're going to have a minimum of 8 games today. I hope you're strapped in.
I'm just, first thing I said to you when we got the call. That's all I'm saying.
It feels like a 9-game day.
It's a 9-game banger.
I thought, you know, maybe we'll be given the blessing of at least 1 2-game series. We was hoping that maybe Ultra Prime could close it out in this one. Couldn't quite do so. You can see Xioalaohu has gone for the Grasp, has gone for the Scorch secondary as well. The gameplay against Aatrox is I will just poke you out in the side lanes, get the Grasp and the Scorch on cooldown, and see how much you can poke them out. The items have changed a lot for Fiora, as we've said. You can go towards Triforce. There's Eclipses and Ravenous Hydras in the build too. Ravenous Hydra, of course, gives you the ability to sustain in the way that Sundra used to give you it. Very interested to see how Decade manages this matchup.
And I think it's also a situation where Decade can put like a stamp down. I feel like Decade has had some troubling moments, but against Xioalaohu, somebody who we've been praising a ton of because we've seen a lot of growth from this guy in just such a recent time over the last year, that I think Decade being able to handle this matchup, being able to handle a Xioalaohu special where he's trying to get the Fiora into this can actually be huge for him moving forward. But
slow from the W. Fiora's is so obnoxious in the 1v1, man. Again, you can see how much early damage you have. Again, so Fiora sometimes has mana problems, so again, the mana flow band secondary is nice, and we've already talked about the value of the Scorch. You hit someone with the W, even the attack speed slow on that is really annoying at early levels.
It's just trying to get as much poke and pressure as you can, right? And then once you get control of that, you can try to utilize that in some way. It is tough to dive an Aatrox, but you already see MilkyWay kind of utilizing the pathing to walk away from that way. So I do wonder where that focus wants to come down for both of these junglers.
I mean, if you can get anything to stabilize one of these lanes, that's important. Yuekai has pushed up a little too far, but all that's going to cost him is some mana in the form of the Valkyrie. Back in the day, I say, you used to be able to really annoy Corki lanes by forcing out a Valkyrie like that, because it costs so much mana early on. It's something like 100 mana. You see the stat at the bottom. Currently only at a 25% win rate. Not at the best. Better than Orianna, but you know, not great.
I don't know about that one, man. You know, 4-12. It's been tried a lot and failed a lot. We'll see if it continues to do so, or if maybe Yuekai could be the big difference maker in that here. There was an attempt towards bottom side, get some damage. Deokdam did have to burn that barrier.
He did. The Ignite was put down by Doggo. That's going to keep them low enough HP, and Xioalaohu just such an obnoxious laner. The thing is, if you're focusing towards bot side, and I get it, you probably should, it's a Lucian Nami versus the Millie or Felios as well. These two lanes are ones which love to get ahead. If you can get a HP advantage, it's kind of annoying to even get yourself resets because they can stop you from backing quite easily with the amount of ranged poke they have between Lucian W and stuff like that. But it does leave this topside matchup to the Wolves, and in this case, Fiora is the Predator. And it's really going to start being a problem if Ultra Prime can't stabilize.
Why don't we have a wolf skin for Fiora? You know, that's another.
Because it's not actually. It's not particularly much of a.
Hey, you put the idea in my head, Nymeara. I'm just saying, everybody heard that. Everybody heard that. Now we do have Deokdam in life with a little bit of pressure on themselves down bot side. Do you foresee this continuing to be the case for the Lucian Nami lane down?
It will depend when the next reset comes in, because again, Lucian Nami, they'd love to recall to get Kerchi Shard and then also the support item. If you can get Dirk first item back for Deokdam, then things get a little bit better, because your turnaround damage is quite nice. Dirk is a very strong item right now with the way that lethality has been changed. That's what we've been learning about this matchup, and it's also kind of why people are happy to handshake this lanes. They have different power spikes which you can play around, even in just the components you pick up.
This game is the first one in a long time that it's so definitive how important Vision Game has been. Like, last game it was incredibly important for FPX on the blue side. This time around, being able to see MilkyWay there trying to make a path towards lane, it literally just sets up Hacker to get the other side easy and go ahead and get these 3 grubbies. So I think being able to play around that has been really important, but Ultra Prime taking advantage of that here in Game 3.
It's good news that Hacker can at least get those grubs, as you were saying, because there is the Fiora on the other side. Split pushing is kind of annoying. Don't get me wrong, Aatrox can sometimes stop you hitting turret because he threatens the just the amount of CC and damage he can bring from sweet spots to his Q, but still, if Fiora was ever given time on a turret, but given that, you know, it changes a year or two ago, gosh, it feels a long time ago that this change happened, but still so recently. Now that Fiora Q and E also apply on turret, it was one of the problems back in, I don't know, call it Season 8, Season 9, when split pushing really was the name of the game. Camille was always favored as a split pusher over Fiora for the longest time because Camille's Q actually affected turrets.
Yeah.
Now that Fiora can actually do that with her abilities, if you had something like the Grubs on top of that, that would be absolutely insufferable.
So just a pretty big lead going on in that side lane just for at least the minion differential. Another thing is, I gotta ask, are we gonna get another 6 grubs for blue side? There's no way, right? Like, there's no way.
Kind of depends if Fiora wants to stop, like, bashing Aatrox's head in for a second and actually join the grub fight, because you do have potential. Oh, hang on. With the second grub spawning, you're not going to have just about the package spawn, so you're not going to have the Corki power spike. Yeah, there's a chance we do see the split up of them. FPX would love to get those grubs if they can.
Kair does have perfect execution as a tool to get out of there. Will not have to utilize it, so the gank goes a little bit awry for Ultra Prime in mid lane. MilkyWay trying to set up a gank on bot side does not have the Glacial Prison, importantly.
Doesn't. Hacker will be spotted walking down towards here, so bot jungle's in the know now.
They will go for a little bit of skirmishing. Doggo had gotten engaged on a little bit there. Hacker push MilkyWay back. A little bit of support coming in from Life. Nothing else going to be coming of it, but FPX maybe utilize this pressure to try and take a little bit of priority there.
Potentially buys it. I think basically what MilkyWay wanted to do was make sure that if possible his bot lane could get themselves a happy reset. I think with the lanes being contested at this point, they won't be able to do so on this wave. Interested to see when they actually finally get that first buy-in.
I know you were talking about him earlier, but MilkyWay has been a pleasant surprise for FPX, I feel like. A RNG transfer from the LDL scene. One of the hotly, I feel like, looked at players coming up, but has been a pretty core cornerstone for FPX so far in the split.
Yeah, and he's had a very versatile champion pool, as we said. You know, when he came out on stuff like Lee Sin and the LGL, this dude was pulling off highlight reel plays. So I'm very excited to see how he develops as a player in the LPL proper, see if he can advance his gameplay anymore. We do finally see recourse coming in from AD carry, CS advantage in the top side. Ult, though.
Xioalaohu issuing the grand challenge. We'll be trying to get those sweet spots. Decade able to move around the wall there to get that fourth one not prompted.
Really good patience there from Xioalaohu too. He's not just like rushing to get all of the vitals down, he's making sure that he's keeping in mind the Aatrox key timing as well. Of course, Aatrox does have a surprising amount of turnaround damage, even though you expect Fiora to win out on that. It's not necessarily always a free win, but as it's happening right now, it's just making sure that Decade doesn't have the HP to survive potentially something like a dive. MilkyWay has ult, let's see what they can do.
Hey, highlight reel ready to go. It is recording now. Can MilkyWay get it? He misses everything. Xioalaohu, he gets the fade away. There we go. As he wiggles the 4-0, but it will be another play going to Xioalaohu.
It's like, did he miss anything? Psych! No, hadn't even thrown his ult yet.
Don't even worry about the first things.
Didn't even have to blow the flash. This Decade has no teleport on the top side. Blows his flash under the turret as well. This top side is now becoming a big, big issue. Ultra Prime, they need to wait for their first item spike and hope that Lucian Nami can kind of baton past them into the late game of Corki, when hopefully that can be enough to overcome whatever Xioalaohu is going to wreak havoc with in the top side of the map.
The culling utilized just to try to pepper some damage. Nicely split between the two, Deokdam and Life. Nothing else going to come of it on the bottom side, but top side of the map, the Grubbies SU2 are spawning, and MilkyWay will be right around the corner to grab those up.
If they can get even just a couple of these grubs that stop Ultra Prime getting 5 of them, which is of course going to be annoying for us. Decade's going down to check. Doesn't have flash, doesn't have ult. Akali's got first roam. I don't think Decade can stay here realistically.
Just a little bit of desperation to try to get a play onto the grubs, but actually can't do it. And at least for the first time, we get the split here, at least at some point. The package available, though.
So you actually get the package timing. I was wondering if that'd actually be up in time for a spawn there. This is fine, though. You're still taking 2. It means that you're not going to get the Void Might spawning. Xioalaohu can maybe walk down and threaten Hacker. Actually thinking about it, maybe.
Oh, no.
This is a Fiora with 1 item.
Okay.
Doesn't end up doing so. Okay, that's fine. So it's 4-2 overall. The Grubby Tubbies have been they have been split up this time.
I didn't realize how fast the episodes would go when each episode is.
Well, it's kind of, it's like when you realize that SpongeBob episodes are only like 10 minutes each, but
but there's 2 episodes each time.
Exactly. And just like this, I don't think I'd
we're
really thought out
following the right direction with our grubby tubbies. Like if we're on the heels of SpongeBob, I think we're doing pretty good.
I was about to say, I hadn't quite thought out the implications of like the sponge grubs. That's a little bit different. You could call them like, you know, SpongeBob, Patrick, and Sandy. You can call Decade, unfortunately, on the receiving end of another gank. First item from Xioalaohu makes the wave play so much easier.
But this
I'm so sorry, poor Aatrox.
But this time, will it go differently? He does have the level advantage. He actually survives. They do get another plate, though, for Xioalaohu and MilkyWay this time.
This is good defensive play on the turret from Decade to at least save his life. Doesn't have to blow the world ender either, which would have been kind of nasty. The gold advantage is slightly in favor of FPX, but you can see from bot side continually pushing in. It's not like Deokdam and Life are having the nicest time of things either. They have themselves a Maokai ult to help them with their own dive.
Grass coming across, the perfect combo with the tidal wave on top of it. Deokdam's fighting back, though. He doesn't want to give up an inch, and Doggo is going to force flash over the wall.
Care comes in with a teleport. They can't stay any longer. Bit awkward. Doggo ends up one side of the turret. His teammates at the other one. They can't get anything off of that dive. So actually both teams now trading. I'm not going to call it quite a failed dive. It probably is a failed dive, but it's not disastrously so. They haven't given up kills either way.
They actually get a little bit of time on the bot side for FPX this time around. Maybe get a plate for themselves as the reset had to come through. I do wonder, though, because we have to see how they can utilize some of this pressure. Because again, there's a ticking time bomb on the top side that's now 40 CS up almost in Xioalaohu.
Yeah.
And so I think continuing to keep that in your side mind for FPX is really important.
Also worth noting, Deokdam this time has picked up the support item. FPX is not as good a user of something like the Blood Song compared to something like the Lucian, who is a very good Sheen user. FPX can sometimes struggle to get the important prod with that, but still, it's extra gold in pocket. It means that you can keep up in terms of gold generation, and you have some ability to use it anyway.
There is a dragon spawning up in about 30 seconds. Goodness gracious, the split plays from
Great
top to bot on the other side. Yeah, that is a great song.
We have them familiar.
If you do. I can't believe so many plates have gone down, though. There's been so much.
Which is really interesting. You know, we haven't seen LPL teams massively utilize grubs and taking plates. This is very interesting, though, because we had a lot of questions about early games from LPL. That's a good flash.
Really good flash. That was close. They really wanted that turret, but they weren't able to get it. The flash did get burned, and that will be revisited.
So now we have to see what can happen with the rest of this bot push. It's going to be a crash in. Doggo potentially can jump beyond the wave. Has the support of his jungler nearby. There's no Sejuani out to keep things around. That's a nice little moonshot to tag onto Doggo. Just chunk his HP down just a little.
There's just a little bit of movement up towards his mid lane. Care being caught in transition here. There's a TP behind.
There we go.
This is huge. The Graviton connects on a Doggo, and there's the Arctic Advance as well, or Assault rather. Doggo goes down to Xioalaohu of all people. Care going in, trying to get Yuekai, but perfectly executing his escape, and makes it out. The Rift Herald looks like it's Ultra Primes now.
So it's potentially Xioalaohu teleports towards the bot side of the map but can't get anything done. He's going to walk into Decade. There's a chance of some damage coming down. I don't think you want to take an extended trade here, folks. Xioalaohu is still a pretty scary Fiora. Even though the strength is in the 1v1, has enough stats right now to make people think twice.
I think the pressure, though, now will just be lent towards Ultra Prime, who can utilize this Rift Herald to break down one of these towers. MilkyWay getting that split dragon, though, is huge. And this is the first game where we've really seen some contesting over both sides of the map.
This is not dissimilar to both of the series these two teams had earlier in the week, where they had some back and forth game 1s and 2s in terms of gold leads in game 1 and 2. This one's been a bit more even. Binding Eclipse coming through from Deokdam after using the Graviton ultimate. Xioalaohu teleports in to get himself a kill there. Of course, that is, means that he's out of position to mean he can do anything towards topside, but getting the kill gold either way, very nice for him.
I'm wondering now, actually, with a ton of presence around mid lane, if we see an advance from FPX. 'Cause we're in a delicate situation where Xioalaohu, yes, he's farming up, but the rest of the 4v4 is going a little bit differently. Grand challenge issued. Decade gonna have to flash out, and Xioalaohu taking that extra tower shot just to say I can flex on you.
So, fun thing with Fiora, for those of you that are not players of the champion, any damage which Fiora does in terms of items will proc vitals, not just to auto attacks. You can use the Ravenous Hydra to get a quick proc cancel. She's going to walk up, use the demolish on this tower.
It does get the demolish proc there. That turret going down is pretty big. That's 2 turrets for FPX now.
Here's Xioalaohu, who is becoming just so insufferable. How's the Ravenous Hydra, so he can stick around for an extended time on the top side of the map. This is just going to flow pressure around the rest of the map now. The Akali and the Fiora both going to be strong in their respective side lanes. Feels like they have good matchups in either of the solo laners that come up against them. That means that look at these control wards either side of mid, and then look how many wards in general. Yeah. How are you meant to jump forward as the Lucian, like Dogdam was doing last game, if you don't know where anyone is? If there's a MilkyWay Sejuani just off hanging into river, how are you meant to jump forward and get the damage down that you need to with a one-item spike Lucian?
It's so difficult. There's just so many options. I think I am curious because we've gotten a variation of the Corki that necessarily hasn't fallen behind but hasn't gotten ahead, and I think that's what we've seen a lot of, where Corki just doesn't come online at the right times.
Yeah.
Whereas Care will be online. And a lot of these situations where the assassin can actually make the difference, I'm wondering how they can play around that.
And worth noting as well is the Protocol first item, which helps with the gap close when you have triple backline of
ooh, TP from FPX.
That is a teleport from Care as well. How much can you do here?
Oh, the Glacial Prison does not hit. Doggo was the target, but Care getting bursted down. Xioalaohu can't make it in.
Oh,
and it's Hacker who's found the back line. Decade can't get it, but Yuekai cleans it up. He goes for 2. He's looking for more. And FPX are routed. He gets one back. Xioalaohu traded down horribly, though. And Decade making the difference with Yuekai picking up a triple.
I mean, Hacker's taking the world routes to get to his destination. He goes on a long-haul journey following Care's second part of his ultimate. I think Care made a huge mistake bringing Maokai into the backline, but now with all of these kills and Xioalaohu going down as well, Ultra Prime get a much-needed injection of gold to potentially stabilize the map.
And guess who got it all? It was Yuekai, the man that we've talked and lauded so much of Ultra Prime, wondering what this Corki is going to do in his hands. Well, now he is set up for success in the long term.
So it's a double teleport, but I want you to watch particularly what Care does. Goes in, immediately CC'd, not very well coordinated with the damage of FPX, and then Hacker follows him right back into the team, which leads into a double knockup into Decade. Care going too early and bringing Maokai back into the team is the key moment in this fight.
And the CC separation that Ultra Prime was utilizing there was actually so big as well. Even with Decade missing a couple of those, the timings of the bubbles from Jwei, big. And now Ultra Prime on the front foot with all of their tools.
Important note, this is not going to be Malignant's second item for the Corki. It's going to be Triforce. I think this is okay in this game, because if FPX are actually stood around an objective, they do actually have the ability to have the go buttons. I think given how strong Poke Corki has been, a lot of people had questions about going towards the Triforce. It feels like you actually need to have good auto-attack uptime. The extra HP on this item is actually quite valuable this game for me, though. It might help him survive against someone like a Fiora or an Akali running at him for just long enough that his team can clean up.
Yeah, Xioalaohu will be a terror, but his home is in the side lane. And I think you can find strength in the team fights as well, but it's something where if you get picked apart, it can be really difficult. So I do really like the adaptation here, getting a little bit more of that sustained damage. We also have second items coming up for a majority of members. The rapid fire there completed for Doggo, a really big spike for the Lucian.
Absolutely. This is when Lucian can do stuff
like that.
Oh my god! Where did he go?
Doggo eliminates the competition, and he's a hungry dog now. Yuekai hunting down MilkyWay. He's got another flash. He's got another rocket, and he's trying to pull it. That's one more tidal wave. Yuekai comes away big, and Ultra Prime stealing away the map.
Ultra Prime explode into life. They're gonna get themselves a Baron off of this too. Jungler's dead. AD carry's dead. This Fiora can't jump in a 1v4. You might have to pray to Care to do some kind of magical shenanigans with the Corki, but this is so difficult to play.
Yuekai is making it look real damn good. If they catch Life out, Light Up almost dies. Jwei is flashing out. Xioalaohu is in the thick of it, and he's going down to a shutdown Decade. The Baron now in trouble as Ultra Prime want to go ahead and take that one down. Life very close to death. Care trying to make a play here. This could be a defining moment as the rockets land. Here comes Care. Care looking for it. Lockdown CC. Moonlight Missile doesn't matter. It's going to be claimed by Yuekai, the MVP, it feels like, of Ultra Prime.
That is a clutch series of plays started off by Doggo and Jwei in the mid lane. Yuekai follows up. With the Baron taken, the side lane threat of Xioalaohu is going to be muted for the next few minutes, and Ultra Prime can start encroaching more and more vision and taking over more territory in this game. Their immediate resets can go into a dragon after this too. Very important moment. If you get mid lane vision, if you get this kind of ability to walk forwards as Lucian, you can absolutely slaughter your lane opponents. Great moment of time to pick up an opportunistic play. Picking up the jungler afterwards, even though you commit the flash, it is completely the right call. It gives them the opening to go towards the Baron afterwards. Fantastic awareness of the game state of Ultra Prime in that moment.
And Ultra Prime just started an avalanche that FPX were not ready for. They have absolutely snowballed this into a huge advantage. Now, they'll take another dragon. They'll have the pressure with the Baron for another 2 minutes, and they're looking at bot lane.
That they are. So, this Lucian just came back out onto the map after spending its ill-gotten gains from that last series of play. They're going to have themselves some ability to hit this tower. Remember, they have 4 Void Grubs. None of them might spawning, but the damage over time on the tower is already pretty nasty. Next time the wave comes in, you're expecting this one to be falling in short order. The question is, can they end up breaking the base? There is some ability for FPX to launch a counter-strike at this point and try and get them as they kind of over-push into this vision. They have teleports, but FPX, they don't want to be just sat under their turrets. The wave player's not that good.
Doggo going for it, gets half health, culling across it. Going to be tanking the tower shots is Hacker. Going down though, a couple rockets here and there, really making the difference, and the turret going down to the auto. As now Ultra Prime opening up the inhib and bottom side. I don't know if they want to step forward. They feel a little antsy to do so. Trying to tank it up with this siege cannon, but Decade on the flank can have a big angle. They're going to push up their pressure here. Xioalaohu a little bit caught out. The difference maker early on. He's the one that they catch. Now it's Care taking the reset on to Hacker though. Decade trying to lock down Deokdam. But it doesn't matter. Yuekai is the one that you have to deal with now as the range is really coming to bear. Another turret here, but Ultra Prime maybe overextended. Moonlight Vigil straight through the goal posts. And that's not what you like to see.
Oh, Deokdam, it's his Aphelios. It's a champion which he has played so much over his career to some great success, but he can't quite find the marks there. Ultra Prime might be just about to find themselves their first series window on the other side of this. They just need to close it out with this Baron push. They have 10 seconds left of it. They can take another inhibitor turret. They need to really try and make the use of this base going down.
Oh no, Decade gonna have to flash. That was very tight. As the tidal wave came through, Care was trying to look for that Shuriken flip to go right back in. For now, the dust settles. Ultra Prime, 6,000 gold in the lead, with the eyes of the horizon being a win for the first time in spring. We'll see a replay of that fight in their siege after the Baron push.
Big thing here. Look at this riposte. It uses it on the Aatrox Q. Hacker is comboed up so well. He's really locked in on this. He trades 1-for-1, but that is fine at this point. You've already used the Mazael, has limited use beyond that. I think that's a great punish to take a lot of the gold and damage off of the side of FPX.
Now Ultra Prime redeploy onto the map. I think a back coming through here from MilkyWay to complete, but they're pulling a play onto Care. He has a tower over here. He has the Shroud. The Nature's Grasp connects. The rockets hit, and Care's life is gone. Right before his eyes, Yuekai claims a 6th kill, 6-0 for the mid laner of Ultra Prime.
And I wonder if Care should have just tried to flash out. He knew that if it was going to get CC'd, it was likely death, even with the Merc Treads. I think that is a bit of a misread at that point. So that's going to open up the top side of the map, even without the Baron buff available to them anymore. Xioalaohu's lane, the top lane turret finally falls. He's done a great job of winning that lane for himself, but he hasn't been able to transfer that lead into the team fights in the way that FPX needs him to. Ultra Prime, even more gold in pockets, and now they can start really hemming FPX back into their base.
Gold graph looking like a backwards water slide right now. Ultra Prime in prime position as they take down another turret. There is a play coming down. TP coming through here. That could be the play if they can find an angle. It was the double. They're going for the long gun as they get turned on. MilkyWay's just gone. Deokdam locked down. A double for Doggo, making a triple. And we're howling to the moon for this dog as Ultra Prime wiped the floor with FPX.
We had so many questions about what form Doggo was in. His last year struggled. His first series of this year struggled. The Ramasumi, we don't need to talk more about that. But this Doggo's Bark is definitely no match for its height. This Lucian is really coming to play.
Ultra Prime on the cusp of a glorious execution in this one. Care can't get his perfect one. Xioalaohu,
that's it!
The big one in front, can't do anything.
They've done it!
Ultra Prime for the first time in spring, the first time in 2024! They're looking for their first series win! And off the back of a carry performance from the power duo of Yuekai and Doggo. GG!
Ultra Prime, take a bow. It has been a hard few series for them at the start of the year. Some high fives between the players. Sometimes perspective is important in these games, folks. It's not a team that's looking to go first. They're not 3-0, they're 0-3. But these games, they really matter. They matter for confidence. They matter for believing in yourself going forwards too. FPX, commiserations to them. They're actually now going to sink into equal standing with Ultra Prime at 1 and 3. They themselves have had some very close series, but Ultra Prime, very, very impressed given the